Hello everybody and welcome back to creating a horror game from scratch. Today I wanted to start by transitioning our game from 5.1 over to 5.1.1 because there's just a lot of nice features in 5.1, and honestly learning how to move your project over and debug any complications that can happen would be something good to add to the video. So go ahead and open the Unreal Project browser using 5.1.1, which actually, let's go ahead and take a look at that. You'll see in my library here, I have more versions of the game engine, which you can just hit this little plus button. Here is 5.1.1, which is the newest version aside from 5.2, which is coming soon, and just hit launch after you've downloaded the newest version. With the game selected, we're just going to go ahead and click on Open. And you'll see that it's saying, hey, this is a different version. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to open a copy. Now this might take a minute because what it's going to do is create a completely separate project, but keep everything we've created and then just open it in the new engine. Once it transfers over, we will check for any errors and debug them. So luckily, that was pretty painless on my end. If you're getting errors, leave comments and let me know. I might not be able to get to every single one of you, but if you guys are getting a consistent error or things like that, then maybe I can make a video or try to figure it out. Of course, with game development, it is important to use your brain as well. So if you're getting an error, always try to diagnose it yourself first. But for now, this is open in the newest version, and I have not had any issues yet. One thing that you should do once you move any project over is up here in the top left of this hamburger menu, you'll notice that one of the things is to show the FPS. Go ahead and check that, and you'll see on the right-hand side of your viewport here now you've got a little FPS tracker. Make sure you're getting a decent frame rate. Obviously, this is going to change based on the system. So if you're used to getting 30 FPS and you're still getting 30 FPS, that's good. However, for people like me that have a little bit more beefy system, getting up there to about 100 and staying there is perfect. Now let's go ahead and just hit this play button and make sure everything seems to be working as intended. We should be able to go up to the screen. As you can see, it did work. We can now switch between the two cameras, which is awesome. However, you'll note that our ghost is actually messed up. Check it out. He's sitting here in the middle. I'm not 100% sure why, but that be an issue. So anytime we have an issue, it's always awesome whenever we get an error. It sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not, because now we can look and see what happened. So it looks like it accessed none, trying to read the property call function array get item. So that means, let's go ahead and pop this open. This node right here, AI move to, and it accessed none, trying to read the property call function array get item. So let's see where it is getting the item. So as you can see right now, we have the path array and the current path point. So its path wasn't set. And because the path was not set, it retrieved none when trying to navigate to the correct quadrant. So this could be something as simple as things are loading in the incorrect order. So what I'm going to do, because we don't know the exact order that everything is loading in, is basically I'm going to take a look at this. So we have a short delay, and then we get the instance ref, and then we get the path. So right here is when we're getting the path. So we don't know why whenever we were retrieving the game instance, because if we go to the get path function, you'll see that we're getting the path from the game instance. So we don't know why that returned none, because logically we know it makes sense. So let's see the order in which we have things loading based on our delays. Right now we have a 0.3 at the event begin play. Let's see when the quadrants are adding themselves to the game instance. Let's go ahead and click on a quadrant and just go ahead and edit the quadrant, which will pull up the BP. And we have a 0.2 here. So these are adding themselves at 0.2, whereas the parent is setting the path at 0.3. So we know that that math adds up. However, if we take a look at our blueprints, actors, ghost 1, which is the thing that's actually spawning, we'll see that there's a 0.35 delay here. So honestly, I'm just going to change this over to a 1. Now you might think that's a really long delay, but honestly, if the ghost spawns and sits there for 1 second, it is going to be absolutely negligible. Sitting there for 1 second really won't matter. So we're going to give this a little bit longer of a delay, and this might be a good example to show you guys how things loading in weird orders can sometimes cause errors. So let's go ahead and hit play and see if we get another error. Let's go ahead and head into our TV screen, and look at that. I can already see that the ghost is present where it needs to be. It's in the quadrant. It's flicking the light. Can it throw things? I see you like the light. Can you throw something? Perfect. So it seems like our game transferred over quite well. Let's go ahead and pull out our walkie-talkie here. And as you can see, it is doing the cry, which is perfect. Our door is operating. There's our ghosty boy. And we are good to go. Apologies, I just realized my mic was peaking that whole time. Hopefully I have fixed the issues. I just installed Windows 11, so still working out all the kinks. Anyway, now that we've got the game transferred over, right now, you know that we spawn one ghost, it goes down one of the paths, and then it kind of just errors out because there's nothing to do. So I think in this episode, one, I want the ghost to be able to attack us once they have gone through all the quadrants, but also, let's create a basic system that kills the ghost, and in this case, spawns the next one. Later on, we can replace what is killing the ghost with something more game relevant, but to get the code working, we can just do something basic. So the first thing I want to do is open up our parent ghost. In the blue section, you'll see that we have get path and we have go down path, and then that's basically it. And what's happening is, unfortunately, And what's happening is basically whenever there is no more quadrants left, it's throwing an error because it's trying to go to a quadrant that doesn't exist. So we need to add a little bit of logic to the go down path and then create a function that is called whenever it has officially done the path to its full extent. So let's look at our logic. We call go down path, AI move to whatever the current path point is. We moved that location, then we stay there for 15 seconds, we add 1 to our current path point, and we go down the path again. So, I think let's just mess with the logic here at the end. Let's expand this comment as much as we need here, because we're going to need to add some logic here. So take go down path, setting the path point, and the math behind it, and just move forward with it. We're going to go ahead and disconnect the set, and we're going to hold B and click to grab a branch. Now, to get the Boolean for this branch, what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the current path point, and we're going to select get. Then we're going to pull out the path array and select get. And out of the path array, we are going to type in length. Out of the current path point, we are going to do greater than equal, just in case something weird happens. We'll add the equal there, or the greater than as well. And we're going to plug in the path length. So this logic is going to say, hey, is the current path point greater than or equal than the length of the amount of quadrants that are here? Then we're going to plug it into the branch, and it's going to say, no, actually it's not. So we just need to go to the next path point. If it is greater than or equal, we need to create a function that it can call so the ghost moves on to the next step. So I'm going to zoom out and expand this blue comment so we get some space. And we're going to create a custom event in here. And we're going to call this attack player. Because essentially what's going to happen is if the player isn't able to identify the ghost before it makes it through all the quadrants, the only thing left is killing the player. So when this is called, we need an AI move to, but instead of a destination, we're actually going to use the target actor. However, right now we don't really have access to the player from the ghost. So in order to do that, we can do a couple of things, but I think a really simple way to do this is going to be the game instance. One, because we already have access to the game instance, and two, the player is such a common reference that putting it in the game instance is probably for the better. So let's just go ahead and go into my game instance. Once in here, let's go ahead and under variables, let's go ahead and add one. And we're literally just gonna call this player ref. And the variable type is going to be the BP first person character as an object reference. And we are going to save and compile. You can exit the game instance and let's go to content, first person, blueprints, and here's our first person character. We are going to notify the game instance the second we spawn in. So if you guys remember how to do that, we just did this last episode. We're going to create a custom event. We're going to call it alert game instance ref. We're going to get the game instance. We're going to pull out and we're going to hit set player ref. We're going to plug that into set, and out of the player ref, we are just going to do self. We are going to comment this alert game instance that we are the player. And we are going to save and compile. And then we're going to go up here to the event begin play, or wherever yours is located. And again, we'll just go ahead and add a little bit of a delay, like 0.2 is fine. In fact, take this delay and put it at the very beginning of the event begin play, just in case for whatever reason our player spawns before the game instance ref is loaded. So we're going to delay by 0.2, we're going to get the brain ref and the game instance ref, and then of course we will alert the game instance ref of our existence, and we will save and compile. Now back in our parent ghost, we have access to the player. Again, I want to emphasize and hope you guys are starting to understand the power of the game instance. Let's go ahead and pull the game instance ref in, do a get, and out of the get instance game ref, we will get the player ref, and we will plug that into our target actor. Out of pawn, we also need to set this to self, so that way it knows that it is indeed moving itself and not something random. Now let's kind of explain what's happening here. Whenever we call attack player, the AI move to, no matter where the player is at, because it's going to move itself to the target player, until it successfully gets to the player, it will continue moving, trying to get to him, or her, or non-binary. Which basically means until the AI successfully touches you, it's not going to give up. So let's go ahead and grab this, and we're gonna make a comment. Attack the player by moving to their location. And I'm gonna set this comment to, I believe we were doing white for the ghost stuff. Now let's move back up to the go down path. Now, if you remember, we're getting the current path point, checking if it's greater than or equal than the length of the path array. If it's not, we're just going to continue down the path. However, if it is equal to or greater than, we are going to attack the player. Now, let me double check our math is correct, because remember, we're dealing with an array, and an array starts at 0. Our current path point also starts at 0. So actually, this would have caused an issue, because the current path point is always going to be one less than the length when it's at the end. For example, if you have two things in an array and you want item 2, then you want 1 because the first item is 0. So by checking the length, we need to subtract 1 from it in order for this math to make sense. Keep this top one connected, or as I disconnect it, disconnect the bottom one, and from length, we're actually going to type in the word, well, I typed in minus, but it's subtract. And we want to subtract 1 from it, and then plug this in. And that should set it up correctly. Let's see if the ghost attacks us once it gets to the end. Let's hit play. So let's use our camera to figure out what path it goes down. Looks like it's going down our east path, which means it will be on this side. So right now it's right here. Let's have it run down to the next quadrant, which of course will be 15 seconds. So now it's been about 15 seconds down there. So what I'm going to do is come into the office and let's just watch and see what happens whenever it gets the next command. And there it is. It came right in and is now attacking me. And you'll see that it gave up. The reason it gave up is because it successfully got to me. Let's press escape and see if we got any errors. And check it out. We no longer get errors and the ghost is set up to attack the player. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I save. Now let's create an event that kills the ghost that we're looking at so we can set up a system that will spawn in another ghost. Go into your project settings. If yours isn't open by default, it should be in the edit. Then what you're going to do is we're going to go down to input. We're going to open up our action mappings. You'll see we got the stuff that we've already created here. However, now we're going to create another one. And this one is just going to be kill ghost. Now, this is more of a debug than anything because obviously we don't want the player to just have a kill ghost button, but it helps us go ahead and get the programming in place for whenever we have a real reason to kill the ghost. I'm just going to go ahead and put mine on like T or something out of the way so I don't accidentally click it, and that is set up. Let's head into the BP first person character, and luckily we already have something set up here that we can go ahead and copy paste. Right here we have the interact key line trace. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy everything in this comment, actually except for copy all of this. Just this up to the line trace by channel. Go ahead and copy that. Let's go down here to the bottom and paste. Click on your custom event and press F2, and we're just going to call this kill ghost. So we're doing the line trace so that way we can kill the ghost. We're actually going to increase the size of this since it's just a debug tool to like 1,000. And since it's a debug tool, I'm also going to take the draw debug type and put for duration. Then on the out hit, we need to go ahead and create a branch. And excuse me, I said that out of order. Go ahead on the return value, just plug that into branch so it doesn't go forward unless we actually hit something. And then we need a second branch. So we'll plug this into the first branch and then plug true into that branch. And then on out hit, go ahead and bring this down and hit break hit result. Go ahead and hit this drop down menu and you're going to look for hit actor. Pull out of this, type in cast to parent ghost like that, which means you can go ahead and hit this up caret to then make this a bit smaller. I lied. Let's break this branch and move it over. We're going to plug the true into the cast to the parent ghost instead. And I'm realizing we don't need this branch, so go ahead and delete it. So what did we just plug in? Basically, the return value in the first branch here is did we hit something? We only want to run code if we did, so that's why true's plugged in. On the out hit, we went ahead and broke the hit result so we could see all the information. We only needed hit actor. Then we plugged that into a cast to parent ghost. So essentially what it's going to do is only go forward if it successfully casts to the parent ghost. Or in this case, any of the ghosts it creates since they're children of the parent ghost. Then before we go ahead and go further with this, let's go to the parent ghost blueprint. And we're going to create a function that gets called whenever we want to delete the ghost for now. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this little set of notes here. And I'm going to create a custom event and call it kill ghost. Pull out and just type in destroy actor. Target is by default self. Just go ahead and hit save and compile. Go back to your first person blueprint. Then as a parent ghost, we're going to pull out and type in kill ghost like that. So now we have a kill ghost button. Let's go ahead and just comment this and put debug tool for killing ghosts. And then we need to go ahead and right click and hit event kill ghost. And this is the event box for the button that we set up. So when we press our button, go ahead and run the kill ghost command. We'll hit save and compile. And now, obviously we don't have code set up to spawn another one, but let's double check our debug is working. If I press T, we should get a debug line, and it's super long, which is perfect because it's for debugging. Let's look at our ghost, and oh, so you'll notice that it's not hitting. That's because there's literally nothing to hit. We need to add something to the ghost so that way it actually can be hit. So something simple that I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on add, and I'm going to add a sphere. I'm going to press R on the keyboard, and I'm just going to make it roughly the size of the capsule component. And what I'm going to do is then simply just go up here and type in the word visible and make it not visible. And we're gonna hit save and compile. So now the sphere is there, but it's not visible. However, we should be able to collide with the ghost now. So, pew, and as you can see, we successfully hit the ghost and the ghost was killed. So let's go ahead and add a system that will spawn more ghosts if we successfully take care of one. Sorry if this is a little bit shorter than normal, but we're gonna have to stop right there because the following step I thought would be quick. However, I realized we need to do a little bit more maintenance with the game instance, which is going to cause it to take a lot of time. So we're gonna split that into 2 episodes. However, before you go, I'm looking for suggestions on things people want to learn. So please leave a comment if you have something specific you'd like to learn. However, do note that I will teach you a variation of the thing you're suggesting, because my goal is to not program your game for you, but instead give you the tools you need to be able to critically think and create it yourself. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I love every single one of you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate the support, and I'll see you in the next one.